All right, ladies and gentlemen, take two. Time for the next reaction for Sakamoto Days. Sorry to keep you all waiting. It's been a long day. Let's move on to see what happens in Sakamoto Days today. Yo, peoples! Qushu 92 here, and welcome back to more Sakamoto Days. Last we left off, Uzuki has ushered in a new era of violence amongst everyone, commissioning that anyone in the city of Japan, in the country of Japan, will get a gun and 3 bullets to use what they choose. We have Sakamoto and company going up against the Order, who have sided with Uzuki. And not only that, but they've also shown that since things are changing for the world of assassins, Oki shows the Sakamoto store basically being blown up, and Sakamoto is just left to gasp as to whether or not his wife is fine, along with Lu in the store. But before Oki can kill him while Sakamoto's distracted, Kindaka and Mr. Yotsumura come right in, and they swoop in and they save Sakamoto. So let's see what happens in Days 207, the new JAA. And we get Kindaka with his goggles off. And we have Yotsumura standing there with his 3-sectional staff in front of Oki going, "You move, you die." Then we have Shin, Heisuke, and Shishiba, who isn't all too surprised to see that Yotsumura is still alive. "Kindaka? Hey, pull yourself together, man. Lu, and Aoi, I gotta get home. This is bad. The store's demolished and he's totally lost the will to fight." "You're still alive? Sorry, it's a little late for the game. It's a little late in the game for you 2 old farts to show up." "Yo, Oki, you've really clawed your way up the ladder these last few years, huh?" "You still think you're my boss? The JAA's at a crucial turning point. Don't interfere." "Teaming up with X? Sheesh, the Order's really gone down the toilet, huh?" "We can't put our pride before the survival of the species. That's one of the factors dragging down the old regime." "Either way, our era's coming to an end. Quit fighting it, Oki." And there's this major swoosh that comes in out of nowhere. And there's an explosion between Sakamoto and Kindaka, who jumps out of the way. And it's Oki, who has this ornately designed halberd. No matter how many years go by, we never seem to see eye to eye." "Oh, yeah?" And then Kindaka just starts doing Saitama level sidesteps and is jumping all over the place right next to Oki that he's leaving after images everywhere. "He's still the fastest assassin alive." And before Oki can react, Kindaka comes in and kicks him in the side of the head and sends him flying into the distance, with Mr. Yotsumura coming up right behind Oki. But Oki stabs his halberd into the ground to flip over Yotsumura, much to the surprise of Boiled and Heisuke. "We can't get close." And then it cuts to Shin going, "This is my chance. Freeze!" And Tanabata notices what Shin's doing, or he finds something weird about it, but Shin comes in and he grabs Atari and just dashes off with her. Then we get Shishiba as Oki lands next to him. "What now, Oki? Should we finish them off?" "No. At this point, it's not cost effective. Plus, we have a lot of other things to do. We withdraw for now, but we'll settle this soon." And like ninjas, everyone in the Order just straight up disappears. They just straight up disappear. "We're saved?" And then we cut to another part of town where we get the civilians outside trying to get the guns. "Give me a gun! Hey, quit pushing, I'll kill you!" And then we got the attendants who are passing out guns to people.
"It's a biometric gun. You get only 3 shots. No shooting within 100 meters of JAA HQ.
"Got it." And then people are naming their guns as one dude goes, "Let's give you a name. Hades." And then we cut to Sakamoto and company as they're running across the street with them all commenting on all the civilians getting their guns all ready. Like, immediately getting their guns. They already prepared. The thing that shocks me about Uzuki is that he's already prepared for this and already had guns in the city when he gave the message.
They've already started passing out guns?
Forget that. They've already started passing out guns.
Forget that. We gotta move. We're almost at the store.
And then Sakamoto is just running quietly. He's quiet, but he's also thinking about Lou and Aoi. Lou, Aoi, please be safe. And then we just get Sakamoto being silent as we get to the store, and it's completely destroyed. It's completely and utterly destroyed. It's just nothing is left. It's just rubble now. And then we cut to Shin going,
no.
And Sakamoto is just standing there motionless, sweating, until we get a
sweetie.
And Aoi is fine, along with Lou. Aoi, Lou. And then we cut to him immediately embracing his wife, like he's just holding on to his, like this is the most emotional we've seen Sakamoto in a long time, and he just embraces his wife and hug her, while Lou checks in with Shin, and Shin goes,
I'm so glad you're okay. Thanks to the boss, he set up this place with extra security just in case.
And we cut back in time to when that person walked into the store before it blew up, and Aoi is going,
welcome.
And then the security cam beeps as the floor underneath Aoi and Lou opens up right as the building just goes up and just explodes.
The space underneath the shops connects to a safe room. It's comfy down here.
Nice one, Mr. Sakamoto. And we're in the safe room where it has multiple screens and cameras everywhere, and it has tons of food down there as well. It's really a packed safe room. Then we cut to Atari, who sleep with Miss Hoshi watching over her. Then we get Kendaka again. Your family's safe. How come you're not happy, dude? Yeah. And then Sakamoto is just thinking back to when the store exploded, when he saw it from the view of Oki's phone, and he almost throws up. He almost throws up. The one person that has like the significant amount of composure compared to everything that's going on, he basically can't really handle it. He loses his composure.
Mr. Sakamoto!
And then we get Yotsumura, who comments on this. Kindaka, this is bad news. Huh? He's in severe shock from believing he lost his family, even just briefly. Sometimes noobs who are unfit for the assassin life experience that kind of trauma. That's what you get for spending too much time in Normie Land. I've seen loads of assassins retire over stuff like this. And it just shows Sakamoto pretty much losing his composure after thinking that he just lost his wife in Lou.
Mr. Sakamoto.
And then we cut to a completely different location where Uzuki's hand suddenly goes for his throat. And he stops as he goes, Rion, I know you're really pissed. As apparently the Rion personality in Uzuki is reacting to everything he's done and really wants to try and kill him right then and there. I'm sorry.
Kay, they're here.
And he's just standing there looking out at the city. Sorry, sister came in with both the boys, Kenzo and Denim. He's a good boy. He needs to get a bath though. We need to give him a bath today. But Kumanomi says,
Kay, they're here.
And he's standing there overlooking the city, and the Order walks up right behind him. The order just walks up right behind him. Took you long enough. Had a little business to attend to. And then we have Akira going,
This is getting worse and worse. There's no stopping these people now. Isn't there anything I can do for Rion?
And then we get Kanaguri, who's there as well, going, Wasn't expecting you to side with us, Shishiba. Well, you gotta make smart choices in this world. It's not like I was ever in it to be a hero. Then we get Kumanomi going,
Ha! Pathetic. How come we gotta team up with these losers?
And then Shishiba goes, Hey now, be friendly. What's with that goofy arm anyway? And Kumanomi gets upset at the remark because he's partially to blame for her arm going missing because of the fight between the Order and Uzuki's group at the museum. And she immediately goes to try and punch Shishiba, but then Osaragi appears out of nowhere and catches his fist. Do we even know why Osaragi is so quick to come to Shishiba's defense like this? We don't even know. We've seen like younger Shishiba and his time in the assassin business, but we know next to nothing about Osaragi. We know next to nothing. But she catches Kumanomi's punch, much to Kumanomi's surprise. Then Torres gets in and he goes, all right, that's enough. And then Akira goes up,
Take it easy. But Akira, he started it.
And while Kumanomi is talking and has her head turned towards Akira, Osaragi sends her circular saw at Kumanomi's head and just barely misses her neck, but shaves off her hair in the process. So she basically just gave Kumanomi a bob cut. And it was right next to her. And even Torres is looking, both Shishiba and Torres are looking like, because it shows Osaragi is being blocked by Torres with his arm, but she just managed to throw her saw at Kumanomi's head, just barely missing decapitating her.
Yo, we were on pause. You're dead, you piece of...
And then and Akira is doing her best to hold on to Kumanomi to keep her from moving, while Osaragi is just standing there unperturbed going,
Mr. Shishiba, I don't like her.
And then Oki chimes in going, knock it off, everyone. And then we get Uzuki who chimes in. Anyway, let's celebrate. This is the birth of the strongest group of assassins in history. We'll eradicate every single person who stands in our way for the new order. And mind you, Uzuki is standing here with a sword in hand, and he has there's no life in his eyes. So now, at the end of this chapter, we get everyone from the Order and everyone from Uzuki's group all around each other as one collective. Currently, pretty much the strongest group of assassins in history. I forget, how did Kumanomi lose her arm? How did Kumanomi lose her arm? Was it Hio that did it? Let me look this up. Kumanomi. Let me look it up. Kumanomi, right? Yeah, Kumanomi. Yeah, during her fight with Hio, she lost. She lost that arm with Hio because Hio had her in a death grip. While he was already dying, he had her in a death grip and held on to her arm so that she would sink and drown while with him. Because he was already pretty much dead, but his grip was so strong that he threatened to drag her down into the depths. But she took off her own arm in order to keep from, being latched onto Hio. So she actually took off her arm because of Hio. Even in death, this dude was a threat to her life. So yeah, it was Hio that did it. I remember now. But we are now in a situation where we currently have the strongest group of assassins versus the JAA, and the strongest group of assassins with the JAA have basically joined together as a new JAA is formed. Not only that, but Sakamoto mentally had a mental slip up. Something that newbie assassins go through because of trauma he has actually suffered for the very first time.
The thought of him possibly losing his wife and Lou was enough for him to actually deal in shock. Her upgraded arm looked much better during the museum than it does right now. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. The reason why it looks so much better during the entire museum arc is simply because, well, there's not an emphasis on it. Because the only shot we get of her arm being still, and it's the mechanical arm, is when she's talking about pathetic. How come we got to team up with these losers? And her hand is partially covered. Her hand is partially covered by her head. And the only other time we see her using that arm is when she's going to try and punch Shishiba, but Osaragi stops it. And the way it's drawn here is that it's also blurry as well. It's blurry, and then we don't see that side of Kumanomi again because she uses her other arm to basically touch her hair. And then when we cut to Uzuki saying, let's celebrate, this is the birth of the strongest group of assassins in history, we only see Kumanomi from her right side, with her left arm being the mechanical one. So we don't really get a lot of detail of her arm because we don't see much of it. We don't see much of it in this chapter. So I'll give the benefit of the doubt as like, it may not look that detailed because we don't actually see all of it. And for all we know, with her ability to use electromagnetism, she probably is just, Shishiba had messed up the old one. My theory was Kashima who made it, and since he's no longer there, she had to settle for a simple design. That's true. Shishiba did mess up the arm. So she's probably got a simpler one because Kashima's not there. So there's that. That's actually a really good explanation. Thank you for pointing that out, Killer Bean. Thank you. But now we have a situation where the strongest groups from X and the strongest group from the JAA have joined forces to usher in a new world. This is not going to be a group that ushers in a new era of peace. They're not. All we know about Shishiba and Osaragi is that he's her mentor. Ain't that scary? We know next to nothing about Osaragi, and yet she's one of the scariest, strongest people in this group right now. And she's so dangerous that even Kumanomi was taken aback by how dangerous she is. This is the same person that had absolutely no problem just cutting apart Carolina Reaper. And she did it effortlessly. She just cut him apart and immediately crawled out of the hole like something straight out of The Grudge. Why is Slur working with them, though? It's not a matter of Slur working with them. The Order is working with him. Because apparently, Slur's view of the world is enough for Oki and the Order to see, like, this is the world that we need to live in as assassins. His mentality for the future of assassins and the JAA is what we want to get behind. So with that, we are going to leave Asaki to his fate. Uzuki kills him, and thus usher in a new era for the JAA. A brand new JAA. They're following it, because Oki, I actually kind of explained it in the last chapter, like he gave his reasonings in the last chapter. Matter of fact, if I go here and we go to what Oki said, you're teaming up with X. Why? There's a number of reasons. Most of all, the era of the assassin has been nearing its end. Thanks to modern developments in surveillance, it's becoming increasingly hard to sustain covert assassinations. The cost of assassinations is also skyrocketing and demand plummets every year. The business model itself is becoming obsolete. With the rise in legal alternatives to assassinations, including information warfare, cancel culture, and the proliferation of fake news, would-be assassination clients are simply leveraging societal ostracism instead. In a nation in which violence is no longer the optimal solution, X is our key to destroying the illusion of law and order and bringing back the age of the assassin. And then Sakamoto says, in other words, to keep the assassination business alive. And Oki says, yes, I love assassinations. I love killing. I love power. Wars, purges, assassinations. Power is always established by force. Laws and rules are mere embellishments. The truth is, the world is built on violence, and assassins stand at the apex of the food chain. That is Oki's reasoning. To be fair, the first time we see Shishiba is him using a hammer and twisting a man's neck that would have insta-killed anyone except people like Kashima. Except Kashima is like a full-bodied cyborg. She almost killed Kumanomi. Slur seems too complacent, like I don't feel any sense of fear from the order towards him. That's because this, just going off of what Oki said, the order doesn't feel, and you would think they'd be concerned considering he has a personality of pretty much the most powerful assassin that ever lived, being Old Man Takamura. You would think they would be moderately concerned that the strongest assassin of this entire series has a perfectly replicated personality within Uzuki that he can call upon at any time. And the thing about that made Takamura dangerous was that he was capable of slashing both friend and foe alike. So you would think they'd be concerned, but they're not. They're not concerned. So that brings along a whole other slew of questions as well. But yeah, that's the reason why Oki and the Order are working with Uzuki in this instance. Just because what Uzuki is going to bring about is yet another age of the assassin by making sure that violence is at the forefront. That violence without law and order to govern or decide how assassinations can be carried out. A nation devoid, if not world, of violence that doesn't adhere to law and order, and that assassinations can be carried out with impunity, without any impunity. I hope I'm using that word correctly in this sentence. Without any care about whether law or order has anything to say about it, assassinations can be carried out just for the sake of it, because assassinations and assassins are at the apex of the food chain of humanity. Poor Tenkyu, he got messed up for basically no reason. He got messed up because, well, he's basically a tool with no reasoning. And that is Alkamar's fault. That is Asaki's fault. Since Asaki is dead, it's not like they're going to be able to reset anything in him. However, I do have questions considering that Tenkyu is not dead. Will he have another part to play in this story? Mind you, his bow-drawing hand has been permanently disfigured unless he gets like some new mechanical appendages for his index and middle finger on his hand. I hope we see Tenkyu again. I really do hope we see Tenkyu again. But this is the world that Uzuki has been working towards. A world that is devoid of law and order, and maybe a world where peace can be gained from it through the violence. Which is a weird way to put it. This is something that Madara Uchiha tried to achieve. A world of violence that could lead to peace. But then it dips off into the old infinite Tsukuyomi thing, and we don't have time for that. So now, one thing that is of great concern is the thing with Oki versus Slur's ideologies. They contradict each other. Exactly. Uzuki wants to counterpoint. It's not fully his fault, but he did say he was going to use Aoi and Hana as hostages right to Shin's face. Yeah, I mean, he kind of brought it on himself. But then again, like I said, he's a tool with not a lot of reasoning. Not a lot of human reasoning. He is devoid of emotion. He is literally just the perfect weapon from Alkamar. So his reasoning is just like the small vestiges of his humanity is for him to become friends again with Uzuki again. That's it. But the ends justify the means, even if it means taking people hostage. But he's still a tool at the end of the day because all he knows is using his strength for killing, and that's it. Other than that, he's just more concerned with trying to be friends with Uzuki again, even though I feel like he wants to be friends again despite the fact that Uzuki kicked him out. And he's having a hard time understanding why, even though people have explained it to him. So Tenkyu is kind of a wild card in this situation because we don't know if his head space is going to be centered around trying to get back to Uzuki or maybe trying to bring Uzuki out of this little funk that he's in. But the thing with Oki and Slur's ideologies, they contradict each other. Oki likes the killing. He likes the killing. While Uzuki, in trying to create a world, hopefully, that Rion would be proud of, you can already tell that his way of thinking is flawed because the Rion personality, which is a perfect copy of Rion Akao, it tried to stab him, which means that his ideal of a peaceful world through this violence is already against what Rion would want. So he's already going about it the wrong way. Because if it was doing right, this personality wouldn't have flared up and tried to take a knife and jab him in the throat. So it just shows you that while his ideology of trying to achieve peace through violence and allowing everyone to have a say in the violence that transpires, he's going about it the wrong way. It's like a battle royale. I think Oki's ideology is more realistic. It is more realistic. He fully explained it. Uzuki is all like, we're going to give everyone a gun and should peace. And mind you, he didn't even say that peace is going to come from this. He's just saying, should peace rise from this world of violence, then perhaps this is the world that Rion wanted to create. So we can't even say that he's trying to create an era of peace through violence. He literally said, should peace. So even he himself is not 100% sure that peace could transpire through this. He's just saying all this, you know what? We're going to go back to that chapter because it's very important that we go back to it. I hope you guys will indulge me just a little bit. Okay, so chapter 204, we need to go to 205. I hope you will indulge me because I like talking about this whole series as a whole. Let's see. Very soon, all of this country's preconceived ideals will crumble. Japan will become an elective society. You will decide whether you live, die, or kill. Even if you lived a life divorced from violence, this hell will descend mercilessly upon you. So already his idea of creating, his ideology is just filled with violence. Welcome to complete freedom and complete disorder. But if what emerges is a society based on kindness, then it shows Uzuki thinking the world you imagined is waiting, Rion. And that's the real objective of Uzuki. But at the same time, he's a very conflicting character. He told Kashima that he won't take charge in a revolution, but here he is taking charge and setting a new world. Literally led a revolution against the leading body of assassins in Japan. I'm not one to take part in a revolution. This isn't what I want. He's the literal polar opposite of how we were introduced to him. A person that didn't want to kill at all. But and we all can blame Asaki for this, because his brother forced him into this. You either kill Kendaka or I kill your friends. So it's Asaki's fault. It's Asaki's fault that Uzuki went down this path. And it went even further when he ordered Uzuki to kill Rion. He orchestrated events to lead Uzuki further into despair. And that caused his personalities to flare up. That caused his ideology of the world to change. And now a person that says, I don't want to lead a revolution, has led a revolution of assassins. And not only just assassins, but civilians as well. As we are now about to have a Japan that is filled with complete freedom to kill whoever you want, to do whatever you want without impunity. No, especially the killing part. Giving every single civilian in Japan a gun? 3 bullets. Mind you, it's just 3 bullets. But 3 bullets to do whatever you want. Kill whoever you want. And you will not be charged. It will not be counted against you. So now, Japan is just going to be filled with people who are just waiting for the chance to use those 3 bullets against the people that they want. Patiently. Not everyone is going to use their bullets immediately. Not everyone. And the thing to be concerned about is the fact that no civilian is exempt from this. Everyone is going to become a killer. Everyone. except Sakamoto's group. While Oki is just a snake, he wants the smoke and murder, but also business-minded in regards to the assassinations business. Yeah, he still wants assassinations to be at its apex. Sure, there's like information assassinations and such, but he really wants the whole assassin business to still be physical assassinations with people hunting other people down and killing them. That's what Oki wants, because he enjoys it, and it pays well. He's a very conflicting character. You told Kachima to wouldn't do it. Yeah, you bring up a good point. I want to see Kachima's reaction to this. I don't have any problem in him wiping out the JAA, but after that was finished, he could have simply let another group take over. 3 bullets ain't gonna do nothing. Any rogue assassin already had access to weapons and guns. Exactly. People already threatening before they even got their guns. See, that's the thing, though. I brought this up the moment that we were told that people were going to be given 3 bullets to use with their gun. But my thing is, just because you're given 3 bullets doesn't mean people are not going to find more. It's not like you just shoot 3 times and then you can never use it again. No, you are given 3 bullets, but they never said that you weren't allowed to use more of them. You weren't allowed. They didn't say anything about you weren't allowed to get more bullets. This is where the complete disorder comes into mind, because there's going to be think about it, black marketplaces that are selling bullets to people. Because people want to continue to kill. Some people will have that compulsion. Think about it. This world where everyone gets a gun, now the market for bullets in the black market is going to shoot up. They're going to kill each other and steal each other's ammunition. Exactly. People are going to be killing people for bullets. And not only that, but they're going to be trying to find ways to get even more bullets so that they don't stop at 3. This is, like I said, this is where the complete disorder comes to mind. What Uzuki has done has essentially turned Japan into a lawless nation. Mind you, he never said that the criminal offenses against people would stop after the 3 bullets were used. He never specifically said that. Also, they had to be fired far from any JA facility too, I believe, as well. Yes, they cannot be fired within 100 meters of any JAA facility, but they can be used everywhere else. This is going to become chaos, because any person walking on the street that we see in Sakamoto days will have a gun. Will more than likely have a gun. And if they don't, then they'll be susceptible to those who do have a gun. So there's just going to be an era of fear, because you never know what person walking next to you has a gun, if they know you, if they have a vendetta against you. It's just going to become an era of fear. Was it just HQ? Hold on, was it just HQ? I think it was just HQ. Yeah, I think it was just HQ. Yeah, biometric gun, you get only 3 shots. No shooting within 100 meters of JAA HQ. So no shooting within 100 meters of the main building, of the main JAA building. Doesn't say all the facilities, just the main building. Had to correct myself. What we have here is a Japan that's about to experience chaos and disorder in ways that Japan has never seen. People living in fear of getting shot by people who have guns. People who don't want to get involved but may get swept up in it anyway because of there being no repercussions for those bullets being used. You won't be able to tell if someone has 3 bullets or if they have none. Constant fear from everyone. Minor positive, we have Atari now. Yeah, but that's because Oki saw that they could have gone into overtime. He did say 3 minutes. 3 minutes was up. That's the reason why he left. 3 minutes. She was saved at least. That's a good thing. And she's resting in the safe room with Sakamoto and everybody else. So that's a good thing. That's actually a good thing. We have Atari. We don't know if her powers have been permanently completely used up or if she just used it up for the day. We'll have to see, because I feel like Atari still has a part to play within the story. But we're not going on break from this either. So now we get to see what type of world Japan will be with everyone having a gun. Fear, bravado, All sorts of different emotions are going to come from someone having a firearm that they can fire at any time and not worry about consequences. Think about people who just shoot another person in broad daylight, and you just see people opening fire all over. Civilians are not exempt. Children may not even be exempt. That's a fear as well. Especially if she can do something crazier than that gun trick. That gun trick was by far the most ridiculous thing I ever seen. It was funny, but it was still ridiculous. So this is Japan now. This is what we have going on in Japan. Chaos. And people are already threatening others, saying like, hey, get out of the way. I'm trying to get my gun. I'll kill you. This is already Japan, and not everyone has their guns yet. They're just arguing in line. So this is a problem. Hopefully, Sakamoto can get himself together, because he definitely needs to get his head on straight. Yo, yeah, I didn't think about that. Children aren't exempt. Exactly. Remember that statute saying that civilians can't be caught up in between assassinations? Now that has been lifted because the old JAA no longer exists. Which means that this is a world where anyone can die. Anyone and everyone is susceptible to being assassinated. Civilians are no longer safe. Children are no longer safe. Your streets will not be, your cities will not be safe. Your streets will not be safe. You will not be safe. That's the world we live in for Sakamoto days right now. Man, this is crazy. That's just crazy. I can't wait to read the next chapter, because I want to see what type of world Japan, what type of nation Japan is going to turn into under these conditions. Whether we're going to have like a time skip to see what Japan will be like after all this time has passed under the new JAA, or if we're going to continue in the present day and see Sakamoto and company trying to figure out a way to bring this whole regime, this new regime down before it makes things worse. So we'll just have to say, I wonder what they're going to do about people potentially trying to leave. See, that hasn't been spoken on. We got to think about everything. People trying to leave Japan. Will they be counted as deserters? And will they kill them? Or will they be allowed to leave? Will they be tracked? Because Kanaguri and everyone else, they all have so much information on hand. Mind you, think about it. Uzuki's going to know if people leave simply because Uzuki's entire group has access to every known thing that ties Japan together. Their surveillance infrastructure, their security infrastructure, their data infrastructure, everything. They control everything. So it's not like anyone's going to be able to leave Japan without them knowing. Because out of everyone, the assassins know where everyone is. So I would imagine people trying to leave Japan would not go unnoticed. As to what consequences await them, I have no idea. But overall, good chapter. But I fear for Japan where this story is going forward. What a good chapter. I'll edit it this stream so it only includes the part where you guys can actually see my face and we have this conversation. Apologies for me not turning the screen on. I just forgot to hit the button. I just forgot completely, so apologies for that. Thank you, Halster, for letting me know. But this was a very good chapter. I love talking about Sakamoto guys to you guys. About Sakamoto days, not Sakamoto guys. Sakamoto days with you all. We get to pick our brains as to what we think people's mindsets are in, and also think about the world building that's currently, the shift in world building that's happening right now. Overall, very good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Now, as it starts to becoming... It's starting to get close to 7 o'clock. I'm just going to rest today. I'll do my streams and set them all up for tomorrow, but I am just going to rest. So everyone, all I can say to you is hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my... another thing I'm curious about is, do foreigners in Japan at that time get guns too? They probably have to send an ID card. They have to get their ID card for them being in Japan for them to get a gun. I don't think people are just going to be able to come in from outside Japan to come in and then get their hands on a gun. I think it's only for natives of Japan. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for stopping by. Sorry that these sessions were so late in the day. I just had an incredibly busy day today and I had to push everything back. But thank you for your patience. We had a wonderful chapter of One Piece and an exceptionally great chapter of Sakamoto Days. I love the world building and the dialogue in this story. I'm looking forward to next Sunday where we get to talk about where things go from here. But I'm done. It's time for me to just lay down. I'll just lay down and rest and get myself some rest. Everyone, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I know you're coming back, and because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples. That'll be scary for foreigners too, and that may cause international issues with other countries getting involved. I know. Ain't it something? This could cause a domino effect that could start to trickle out outside of Japan. But we'll talk more as the series goes on. Later, peoples!